All right. Hoping this works. So when you chime in, you give us a thumbs up. So this is Laura, and I'm with Powerful Fitness, and I'm here with Corry today, and we are going to chat nutrition. So all month, Powerful Fitness, we're talking about nutrition, and that's our focus this month. And so the goal today is to just get some feedback from Corry with some questions that you guys have already asked. And I think one of the things that seems to come up all the time in boot camp classes when we're chatting is cheat meals and whether they're good or bad. And I just didn't feel like I had all the information to give you, so I am coming to a source that does. So I have on my paper some questions that you guys have, we've chatted about in class that I'm going to ask, but if you have a question, I can see you. Hey, Clivia. So ask away. Stop us while we're going and ask your question. And we'll stop where we are and get to your specific question. But let's just start with, I'm just going to talk to Corry about what is a cheat meal and what's the science behind it. So spoiler alert, Corry does promote cheat meals. Let's just start there. She does agree with them. Hi. So we're going to ask her just like, what is a cheat meal and why does she think they're a good idea? So I'm going to let her take that first question.
Well, and I think it doesn't necessarily have to be a cheat meal. I know when Laura and I have talked about it, we've called them restore meals, we've called them treat meals, we've called them whatever they are. It just, for most people, if you're on a rigorous nutrition plan, I think for most people, or you're on a diet per se, and you've got certain goals, we all know that eating healthy all the time, sometimes we need a break. So we need to have those occasions where we can just feel like there's really a break from something. And so it's a reset. It's just to get the mind in the game. Our practice when we talk about nutrition is nothing should ever be off limits. So yes, we know that protein's good for the body. We want to eat whole grain carbohydrates. We want to eat good fruits, but fruits in moderation. We want to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. But sometimes you just say, hey, I want that pizza, or I want that Mexican food, or whatever it may be that your body is craving. And maybe it's that you need it, or you need something that makes a difference. I'd say the science behind a cheat meal is if you are on a restricted calorie diet because you're trying to lose weight, you definitely want somewhere in there. A lot of times you'll hear it in the CrossFit world called refeeds or a reset meal. Basically, it's just giving your body a break. So if you've been low calorie, it's introducing something into your body that you haven't been having. So for most of my clients, we're working with a slightly higher protein diet. And so I generally recommend have a high carb and high fat meal. So that's the case. And I say meal because there's really a difference. There's difference between refeed days and there's difference between cheat meals. And so looking at the two and breaking those down.
And so, I don't know if this is right, but like I think about it, we talk a lot about with fitness, like muscle confusion and the idea that like if you're always doing the same thing, your body kind of adapts. So I kind of think, I don't know if that's scientifically, you could tell me, but I kind of think of it the same idea. Like just like in fitness, if we're always eating the same things, then you need a day that kind of shocks the body. So if you're always a runner, you need a weight training day to shock your body. Kind of the same science?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and the thing is, too, is if you find yourself that everything feels off limit, you're completely on the wrong nutrition plan.
Right.
Because there's always an end result. And our clients that we work from the, I want to get on stage and strut myself in a bikini, to I just want to have fun with my family, and then to the other stream of I've been diagnosed with prediabetes or diabetes, and this is life-saving. I need to change my diet. So it's really finding out, what is your goals, where do you want to be, and then from there, how do you incorporate, how do you make that a part of your life?
Okay. So if you're looking at, so this is, I'm seeing if you guys have any questions yet. I don't see any yet. Okay, if you have a cheat meal, are there restrictions? Because I think a lot of times when I talk to moms, it's like, well, I'll do a cheat. If you say I need to do a cheat meal, hey, Sarah Beth, then I'll do a cheat meal, but I'm only going to do it, I'm still not really going to do carbs. It's like they still put restrictions on it. Should it be a free-for-all?
I think it's more of generally what I tell people is use dinner, because that's usually generally when you want to have it most, is at dinner time. It's a meal. So it's whatever you're going to have in a meal. I don't usually tell people it needs to have calories or whatever. If you've been on a regular nutrition plan, let's face it, if you eat something that's got 1,000 calories and it's super fatty and super carb loaded, you're going to feel pretty sick after eating that meal. Right. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's too much. So your body's actually going to tell you this is too much or I need to pull back. But it's generally, that's why I tell people it's a meal, and then it's either dessert or alcohol, so not both.
And why not both?
Because what I think is for most of us, throughout the regular week, and I would say, I know the audience we're kind of talking to specifically with moms now, once you get that sugar in your body just craves the sugar and it wants more and more and more. So you kind of are at a tipping point if you put in alcohol, which is pure sugar, and you put in dessert, which is pure sugar, that it just kind of tips over too much.
Okay.
And I think you're going to wake up feeling really, really sick.
Right.
And let's face it, moms have to, we don't get that. I mean,
Right,
we're
we
the
don't
ones
get
taking
the-
care of
we don't get
everybody
the
when
leftover
everybody's
day.
puking, right?
Right. So making sure you guys heard that. There's not really any restrictions, okay? So if you've been working towards a cheat meal, and I personally, and I know Corey mentioned this, but I call them restore meals. And the reason I do that is because for me, it's more than food. So, and I know a lot of you already know this, but I always do one on Saturday night, and it's always with my husband. And I think that's because, we spend so many of our nights eating with the kids, and it's not very restorative, because they're 5 and 7. So there's a lot of take a bite, do this, get your feet off the table. Like, it's just not fun eating. So Saturday night is our date night, whether we have a babysitter or whether the kids watch a movie in the basement and we have takeout. Like, it's not just the food, it's a whole restore. Like Saturday night, I don't teach on Sunday morning. So it's the whole thing. Like, it's the meal, it's sitting quietly with my husband, or maybe watching Netflix while we eat, but it's everything. Mm-hmm. And I think, what do I want tonight? And there are no restrictions. If it's Mexican, if it's Indian, if it's Indian, I go with the naan bread and the rice. Like, I just eat what I want. So I think that's important, because I think sometimes when we're trying to reach a goal, we really don't give ourselves any breaks, even though we say we are. I see a question, so I'm going to stop. Yes, Leah has a question. So, Laura, on Mondays you mentioned having some fat at dinner and that it helps keep you more full in the evenings. Sorry, I had to see more on your questions. I feel like that post-dinner, kids finally in bedtime, I'm always hungry. Yes, okay. So, why is she always hungry after dinner? Is this even? Well, first of all, you'd have to check like their protein and fat levels.
Right, it all depends on what you're eating. So, obviously, the more protein you're going to have, you're going to feel more full for dinner. I generally always say, specifically for moms, make sure you've got your protein at dinner, and then from there, you've got your vegetables for your carbs, and you've got some fat. Generally, for most moms, when I work with them on nutrition, we pull the carbs out of lunch, because let's face it, you want to have carbs at dinner. So we put the dinner in there. You also feel like you're having a more full meal if you know you can put a roll or rice or pasta or whatever with that meal. But what happens with the fats is each gram of fat has 9 calories, so it's definitely going to keep you fuller. Your body needs fat at night. So if you make sure you incorporate that, it's going to take a lot longer for that food to digest.
Right.
If it's just carbohydrates, it's going to burn off really quickly within 1 to 2 hours. If you're adding in fats, it's going to take up to 4 hours to burn off.
And I think, too, something I've learned from you, Corey, I don't know if this would make sense for you, Leah, is like whenever I told you I was hungry, like I can remember saying, well, I'm hungry at 2 o'clock. And I expected you to say, well, let's fix your afternoon snack. But you always would go fix my morning snack, because you would always say, like, it's a direct result of what you're not doing earlier in the day. So, Leah, I kind of wonder, like, maybe it's not so much that you're not getting enough at dinner. It may be that you're not getting enough in your afternoon snack or your lunch, right? That it's coming, what I say is, like, for less scientific words than Corey's using, is it's coming back to haunt you later.
Well, and I always ask people at night, is it truly hunger, or is it...
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say.
I just got done, the kids are in bed, I want to snack on something.
Right.
And that's where a lot of times I'll say something like a sugar-free popsicle comes
I
in
do
great.
a sugar-free popsicle every night.
Something I picked up from Jackie is I am not a tea drinker, but
I do that too.
Great hot cup of tea at night just makes you feel happy because you've got something in your hands.
Right.
And I saw Julie had a question about what is a good fat. Good fats are going to be... you've got your avocados, you've got your olive oils, you've got any of your nuts. All of that are going to be good fats. You've got your coconut. You can do coconut oil. So it's just a matter, so your guacamole. And
I do like guacamole almost every night with dinner because it's just an easy fat and it tastes good on everything.
Right,
like, and it tastes good in chili. It tastes good on salad.
And
it
depends on what you're eating. So I mean, if you're having a dish that's got eggs in it, you've got fat from your eggs. Or if you're having red meat, you've got fat from your meat. So it's a matter of you may not necessarily need more fat added to that meal, but if it doesn't have any fat, then it probably needs something to accompany it and go with it.
Good. Okay. All right. I'm going to switch back a little bit. Okay. So let's just go with, and we talked about this a little bit. One thing I've learned with Corey was, so I'm going to start calling them restore meals because, like Corey said, I don't love the idea of calling it a cheat meal. I feel like that makes it seem like you're cheating. And I'm not cheating. That's part of my life, is to have a good, fun night with my husband at least once a week, for goodness sake. So I like to call it a restore meal. So that's what I'm going to call it from here on out. But with that, I think something that people ask me is like, what about the rest of the day? And I'll let you say, but I remember, you always tell me you stick with it till that meal.
Right.
So you still try to get your water in.
So, you would let's say you're having 5 meals and you've got breakfast, a snack, lunch, a snack, and dinner. Basically, you just swap out dinner.
Right.
So it's not a matter of, you don't cut calories in a
That's
day.
I think
you
don't save up.
Yeah, that's the big thing everybody does on Thanksgiving or Christmas. They come in, I'm going to save all my calories, I'm just going to eat them. No, because what you do is you overload your body. And then what you've done is you've completely defeated the point of the cheat meal.
Right.
If the cheat meal's point is to, and how Laura has said it about, is to restore your body, to reset your metabolism, to kind of emotionally reset, saying, okay, I've had what I need. And what it is I always want people to feel like nothing is off limits. So if you allow yourself to enjoy that meal once a week, it's not completely off limits. When something becomes off limits, that's when we binge.
Right.
Because we go, oh my gosh, I can't have this. So I start my diet on Monday. So Sunday I'm going to eat the entire bag of chips or the entire box of Oreos or whatever it may be, because all of a sudden something's off limits. If we get a habit once a week, it's no longer off limits. It's nothing that's like, I can't have it. But yes, you should definitely have your regular breakfast, your regular snack, your regular lunch. I always tell people if they feel really guilty about having a cheat meal or restore meal, whatever we want to call it, make sure that's a day you work out. If it's a day that you work out and then maybe you work out the next day, that'll be great. Ideally, it's really nice if you can have that meal on Saturday night and not do anything Sunday, because you have all those extra calories in your body. Your body is saying, thank you, and now I'll be ready for Monday.
Yeah, I will say that's what I do. I do it on Saturday night, and then Sunday I don't work out. But I just give myself a whole day to recover. I see Tristan has a question, so we'll skip to that really quickly. I got 2 questions here. Okay, Tristan says she's nursing and starving after dinner because of that bedtime feeding. Was a good snack if you need a 9 p.m. fix. Well, I have my thoughts, but I'll let you.
Well, you definitely want to go for something protein and fat based. You're not. Basically, the thing is that I always tell people your carbohydrates provide energy for exercise, doing something. So unless you're nursing the baby and then going to the bedroom for fun activities afterwards.
Nobody does that when they have newborns.
No, they don't. So you really don't need that energy. But because of the fact that you are nursing, and I would say, again, this boils back down to if you are exclusively nursing a baby, so it all depends on, everybody thinks, I get 500 extra calories. That is only when you are the sole source of nutrition for your baby. As soon as you are no longer the sole source of nutrition for your baby, that 500 calories you're burning completely goes away. So I would say, if you like milk, a big glass of chocolate milk would be great.
Oh, you can use that Hershey's 5. That's a good. Have you seen that? It's Hershey's Simple 5. It's like it's Hershey's chocolate syrup, but there's only 5 ingredients.
Oh, perfect.
It's really good. You can get it at Costco.
But you could do like chocolate milk. You could do a couple tablespoons of peanut butter. You could do a couple pieces of string cheese.
What about Greek yogurt?
You could do Greek yogurt. So it's really a matter of,
could it have a little carb in it? Like, I'm just wondering for people who are like up nursing all night, maybe they would have more carbs.
If they are definitely, it would be a regular snack that they would have in the day. They could even have like a half a sandwich at 9 o'clock, because of the fact that if you're up all night, and again, it goes to if you're the sole source of nutrition for that baby, then yes, you are going to be burning calories all night long because you're up nursing a baby all night long. So that would be individual, specific for that one.
But definitely you need to do something, and you need to make sure it has high protein. Okay, hopefully those help, Tristan. Let me know. Okay, I got one more question from Julie. She's trying to get her water intake. She has problems getting the full 64 ounces. I would say,
before you eat any meal, chug 8 ounces. When you get up first thing in the morning, chug 8 ounces. When you get done with a workout, chug 8 ounces. So that's about the only way that I get it in. So before every meal. And the great thing is, too, is because a lot of times we keep eating because of the fact that we're actually dehydrated. I know my thing is the second I start craving Diet Coke, that's my indicator that I'm dehydrated. And if I'm drinking all my water, I don't crave Diet Coke. But when I haven't drank my water, it's the same thing for sugars, the same thing for sweets, salts, all that kind of stuff, if you're not getting the water. But I would say before you sit down to eat, drink 8 ounces of water. And the key is really first thing in the morning, you should chug 16 ounces of water just to reset the body.
And also, I think a lot of the women that I work with will even set timers on our phone, like an alarm. Like if you just literally can't remember to drink it, then you have an alarm on your phone for specific times in the day to remind you to make sure you get it in. It's something that we've done. Clivia says, when you refer to carbs at dinner, are you referring to any carb, veggie, rolls, or rice?
More specific, rolls, rice, pasta, not vegetables.
So you mean putting them in or not having them?
No, I mean, in terms of, there's the difference when we're talking about carbs. So mainly specifically carbs here, I'm talking about your starchy carbs versus your vegetables. For the most part in the evening, vegetables are going to be free foods for everybody here. If you get really, really extreme and you want very low body fat, then we'll start talking about, carrots are off limits. But that's only if you're trying to have a body fat of 12% and you're going to step on a bodybuilding stage. For most women, I never say any kind of vegetables are off limits. It's a matter of getting all of them in. But when we're referring to carbs here, it's more the rices, the pastas, the breads.
Okay. I'm going to go back to a few more Restore questions that I had from people, and you guys keep asking yours because they're great. Okay, another question that we get a lot is, can I have a Restore meal if I'm just eating healthy, but I'm not on a super strict plan? So let's say, like, they're not following a super strict meal plan. Occasionally they have chocolate or a piece of, a little bowl of yogurt, or ice cream at night or whatever. Then are they still allowed to have a cheat, or is that only for people who are following a very specific meal plan?
No, because they're probably following their regular meal plan, so I would say yes, they can have one.
Okay.
I think everybody should have a day where they're going to say, I can splurge a little and I can have fun. I have a feeling that the people that are having, the little bit of a bowl of ice cream here or whatever, they're probably pretty happy with their weight. They're probably pretty happy with how they feel.
Right.
And so they probably don't necessarily need as much of a cheat meal because they're not feeling like they're cheating, because it sounds like they have a lot of balance. But I would say for anybody, there should always be a point where we just get to go out and enjoy food truly for what it is, as opposed to, oh my gosh, is this enough carbs? Is this enough fat? Is this enough protein?
Just eat.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another question. Okay, so this is kind of lumped together, but what if you have a special event? So we talk about one a week, but so what if it's Christmas and you have several things going on? Or what if you take a trip, like we can use my trip to Disney World. And you can talk, like, if you're going to Disney World or somewhere, how do you incorporate a cheat meal if I'm going for 6 days with my kids to Disney World, or if I'm going home for Christmas, or...
I guess that goes more back to like the mental aspect of it, and I just tell people what I would generally like for you to do is, if you're doing a trip, is one meal a day, eat what you want to do. Because let's face it, if we're going to go to Disney World or whatever, we're spending thousands of dollars to go. The last thing we should be sitting there going and thinking about is, oh my gosh, am I eating enough protein? Oh my gosh, am I going to gain 2 pounds of fat? Or whatever it is. It's just a matter of, enjoy the time with your kids. You can always hop back on the exercise wheel when you get back. There's different ways that you can do stuff. But again, it's a matter of think about, get a good breakfast. Get a good lunch. Make sure that we're not skipping meals, that we're actually getting food in, because that's going to make you feel better. You're going to retain less fluids. You're not going to feel lethargic if you're actually getting in primarily your water, which is the hardest thing. The great thing is if you go somewhere like Disney World, or I always use my kids as an excuse. Every single time I have a 5-year-old and 8-year-old, every time they go to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom. Right. So I have no excuse not to get my water, because between the two of them, we're going every 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
But it's really a matter of, I say to people, if you're going to enjoy a trip like that, go and enjoy the trip. Bring some healthy snacks. Don't abandon your breakfast. So at home, if you're normally eating eggs and some healthy carbohydrates, don't think that you're not going to gain weight if all of a sudden you go and eat donuts and pancakes and French toast every morning. And not to mention, that's going to make you feel sick because it's sugar overload. Right. You're going to have a sugar crash at some point. Think about what we do with our kids. But it should be fun. Bring some healthy snacks that you can balance it out with. And then, know that when you get back, you're probably going to have some work to do in terms of getting back into it. Right. But as long as you don't turn the entire week into one giant cheat meal and everything you eat is complete crap, then you should be fine.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, Leah says, I'm not sure when whole eggs are the best option versus egg whites. When is one better? That's a question I get a lot, and I don't know the answer to that either.
Depends on your total fats.
That's the answer I give. Hey, I give the right answer.
It all depends on how much fat you can have in your diet. So it all boils down to total fat. Because if we're trying, for instance, if I'm trying to get somebody to get a certain amount of grams of protein, the egg white only has 3 grams of protein. The whole egg has 6 grams of protein, but all 5 to 6 grams of fat are found in the yolk. So that's where it boils down to. So if I give a person 2 full eggs, I'm giving them approximately 12 grams of protein, but I'm also giving them, 12 grams of fat. So it's a matter of looking at that and balancing it out. So a lot of times when we look at it, I'll do something where you're going to have egg whites as super lean, 0 grams of fat, and then you've got the full egg has got all the fat in it. So it depends.
I mean, I would say, like, for me, Leah, I know, like, with my meal plan, I have egg whites in the morning, but that's because I like peanut butter. So the fat comes in
Right.
with the peanut butter, because I'd rather have peanut butter on a waffle than, like, a hard-boiled egg. So
Yeah,
sometimes, so I'm balancing my fats with what I like, too.
Well, and I tell everybody that all of the, when we're looking at, just touch on eggs for a second, when you're looking at organic and natural with eggs, it's the same thing that we find in beef and chicken, is that all of the hormones, antibiotics, any of that kind of stuff that's going to be found is in the actual fatty acids of the meat. So in eggs, if you are, if you've got any chronic health issues, I always recommend going for organic eggs if you're going to eat the entire egg. I also like the farm fresh eggs where you know that there's humanely treated animals, because there's studies that show that the ethics of the animals and what the animals go through before being slaughtered or the way they're treating transforms into the meat and also into the eggs. So it's just a matter of, looking at those components. If you're going to eat eggs, and something about if you have issues with antibiotics or hormones or anything like that, make sure it's a whole organic egg that you're choosing.
That's interesting.
There's no difference between brown and white eggs, in terms of that. When we're looking at the eggs, it's really looking at where they come from. But it all boils down to how much fat you can have in your diet.
Oh, that's really good. Leah says, so the whole egg would keep you fuller longer because of the fats. Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's actually another great option for late at night. If you're really, really hungry, 2 scrambled eggs with just a little bit of salt and pepper will go a very long way.
Oh, that's great. That's good. Okay, any other questions? Do you want to do this?
Sure.
Can we keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm going to let you guys, hey, Jessica. Okay, well, we were going to actually film this as a separate, but I think what we'll do is we had another topic. So we talked a little bit about restore meals, and if you have any other questions on restore meals, post them, and Corey and I will keep coming back to this video and answering under your comments. So if you have one that comes to you later, feel free to post
Why
it.
don't we finish this one and then start another one?
Okay, that's a great idea. So, the next thing we wanted to talk about was the scale. What? Yep, we're going to talk about the scale. We're going to talk about maintaining once you've reached your goal. I get a lot of questions about that. So, what we're going to do is close off this one and then start right now, because you guys are here, and why wait, right? We're going to just turn it off and start a new live video on the scale so that you're able to kind of watch both shorter videos. All right, so if you have more questions about restore meals, post them here. We're going to close this one off and come right back to us to talk about maintaining your goals. All right, see you in a second. Bye-bye.